Not every frog depends on a single season. Not every frog depends on a single habitat. Some frogs specialize, and others survive almost anywhere. While the wood frogs tell the story of spring migration and the bullfrogs tell the story of power in the summer, the green frog tells the story of adaptability. The green frog is the one frog that can survive anywhere. This is the story of the frog that is the generalist. Literally, the frog that can be found in ponds, streams, roadside ditches, in wetlands, in backyard habitats, along forested waterways, in nearly every county. My name is Aaron Capoli, the creator of Frog Week, the conservation project that has focused on central and western Pennsylvania frogs and toads for the last 8 years. In today's episode, we're going to peel the onion back of the northern green frog and take a look at how this animal has become so dominant across Pennsylvania. It's the frog that I filmed the most for the iNaturalist project, sometimes even more than the American toad depending on the month, as it's battling with the American toad right now for first place of being the most abundant frog in our project. As we talk about it, we're going to review some literature that we've had the opportunity to review from over the past 100 years, and then some. We're also going to talk about this frog being the model species for our acoustic study with 4 different species across our target sites. The northern green frog has so much promise, so much opportunity, and it also could become so detrimental. And yet, this is one of my favorite frogs. Even though it's not the most rare, not the most appealing to some, it has that basic standard look of what you would expect a pond frog to look like, and boy does it have the behavior of one. Standing its ground, whether it be with bullfrogs, crayfish, turtles, fish, just about anything, the green frog still will stand tall and mighty. It's one of the first frogs to have been documented in Cambria County, and not only there, Westmoreland and other sites as well. And even though it showed up across the Commonwealth, it's very important to know this species has always been around, and ever since 1913, we at least have records of it being abundant. This frog has grown on me throughout this field season, and not only that, digging into the literature, I've uncovered so much that I appreciate about the northern green frog. Alright, go ahead. It is true that this frog can be a nuisance if you're trying to rebuild populations in backyards, whether it be American toads, gray tree frogs, or even wood frogs. It eats all of them as soon as they become baby frogs and toads. Absolutely. And it is true that it carries ranavirus more so than other pond frogs. But it's not the only frog that would do this if given the opportunity. The northern green frog, the northern leopard frog, American bullfrog, possibly the pickerel frog, they're all culprits. All of the pond frogs would do the exact same thing. But before we finish that thought, let's take a look at one of the most fascinating scenes from Frog Week history. Back in 2022, on my Instagram, look at what popped up. How northern green frogs actually reproduce. Take a look.
Whoops.
The more I've looked into the literature this year, the more I've come to the realization the northern green frog, quite literally, might have always been the dominant frog across Pennsylvania. The same thing that was echoed in 1913 is echoed through the Art Holz book in 2001, and it's the same thing that I see in present day doing the Frog Week 2026 distribution project with iNaturalist. The green frog is everywhere. I felt some conviction this year as I was in the field and also as I was digging into the research that I wanted to clear the name of the green frog and not demonize it or make it seem like it was a nuisance to the backyard. It's great if they're back there. It's important that we know, even if it's a common frog, it's a welcomed frog. I'd rather have a monoculture of green frogs than none at all. And if the green frog can take care of all of those resources, if it's able to capitalize on that, whereas the northern leopard frog, the bullfrog, and others don't, then it's better to have them than not to have them. With that being said though, it is important that we also clear the air. The northern green frog does carry ranavirus more so than a lot of other species in the pond frog family. Even though it was a small sample size, there was research at Powder Mill that showed a handful of green frogs sampled had ranavirus. None of the other frogs in the study did, only the northern green frog. Again, it was a small sample size, but I think they were on to something as to what these frogs might also be carrying into the water with them. From everything that I've come across, I think the northern green frog has always been here. It's always been that dominant frog. The frog that everybody probably thinks is a bullfrog, but it's actually a green frog. Realistically, that's the frog that you probably are seeing anywhere you go in the state, thinking it's a bullfrog, but it's actually a green frog. Anyway, getting back to the point, this frog has a lot of potential to still be detrimental, with there being even more habitat destruction and things happening with disease like ranavirus and chytrid running amok throughout the state. It's also important to know, as you hear choruses like this with the green frogs, there's no opportunity, there's not a chance for another species to establish. The northern green frog can thrive and often even reproduce in some of the poorest conditions in terms of water quality. It's capable of surviving in the lowest possible pH that no other frog or toad is capable of surviving. They can actually lay their eggs in the first settlement ponds from acid mine runoff. This is something that I found in Somerset County. One, it was very disturbing to see the green frogs in the orange and nasty looking water, and two, it was so surprising to hear them calling in choruses like this. Now, however, this isn't taken where there's acid mine runoff. This is a man-made habitat that we built in Somerset County, and as you can hear, the green frogs were the first settlers to find this water. There probably won't be any other species that are capable of colonizing this habitat because of the dominance of the green frog. As we're building habitats in man-made backyards, and we're also dealing with treating polluted water, it's important to understand these are common things. These are trending things happening across the state. As the Frog Week 2026 field season begins to wind down, I'm left with one question as I was digging through the research and also conducting a lot of field work this year. Is it possible that the northern green frog could become so abundant that it's even rivaling what it once was in the early 1900s? Even though that sounds like far-fetched or even unfathomable with how many obstacles are in their way, we're also creating a lot of opportunities for this species, and I see them in such dense numbers across every habitat. I just wonder, is it possible that these frogs could quite literally become a monoculture? I guess that's a question we're going to have to continue to survey for and research as the years go on with Frog Week. That's why these conservation projects are so important, to monitor those who are in jeopardy or even vulnerable, and also to understand those frogs and toads who are abundant. I want to give a huge shout out to Josh's Frogs, who's given us the funding to be able to do bioacoustics with this as one of our 4 target species. The northern green frog is lending its voice in bioacoustics so we can create an app or partner with another organization to create something streamlined similar to the Merlin app, or if you ask your phone what song is playing. We want to make that streamlined but free to the public, and we also want to help researchers across the world to create some kind of model that they could help find abundant and rare species throughout their study sites. And hopefully, our grant project holds the answers to some of this. Thank you guys for watching Frog Week. I hope that you'll continue to watch the videos as they come out this week, and consider liking and subscribing and sharing for more Frog Week content. I'm going to add all of the range maps that I found from these different sites and different sources showcasing the northern green frog, so that way you guys have a chance to see how abundant they are, but how historic they've been. Consider watching the rest of Frog Week to learn more about our target species. That's going to do it for me in this one. Thanks, guys.